Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and today is the 22nd day of December 2024. It's the winter solstice today. This is the shortest day of the year. Paul writes a benediction in Romans that incorporates 3 out of the 4 of our Advent intangibles: hope, peace, love, joy. Listen to this, Romans 15. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. It's a little ironic to think about celebrating joy on the darkest day of the year. And yet, that really is the nature of joy, that it grows in spite of darkness. At Northbury Community Church, we had a Christmas Eve service that we thought was pretty special. It had developed over 27 years. We found that families who never darkened the door of any church at any other time of the year made the Christmas Eve service part of their family celebration of Christmas. Our service was a collage of Christmas music and poetry and readings. Our choir did 2 or 3 anthems. Our soloists each chose a special selection to share. I was always amazed that our Northbury choir all made an effort to be present for the 11 p.m. service. It wasn't always convenient, but they all got there. We had 2 services actually on Christmas Eve, one at 6 o'clock and one at 11 o'clock. The 6 o'clock was for families with kids, and it was kind of a pick-up Christmas pageant. We would have the primary roles of Joseph and Mary and the innkeeper and the donkey. The donkey was the premier role in the Christmas pageant. But those roles would be pretty much set beforehand. But when any young people came in through the door on the way to be attending the service, we would ask them if they wanted to be in the Christmas pageant. And if they said yes, we would ask them if they wanted to be a shepherd or an angel. If they wanted to be a shepherd, there was a row of costumes on a shelf, on a rack, and they would be suited up as a shepherd. If they wanted to be an angel, we had halos and white robes for all the angels. There was a chief shepherd and a chief angel who would kind of guide these 2 flocks around during the pageant. The pageant always came off wonderfully, and the kids did a wonderful job. It was never perfect, but then again, that's the way human beings are. The service at 11 p.m., Lark was our alto soloist for perhaps 20 years. Her family lived in Santa Rosa, about 50 miles north of Berkeley. Lark was an important part of our Christmas Eve service each year, and then after midnight, she would leave our parking lot and drive over an hour to Santa Rosa to be with her family for Christmas morning. She had to cross the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge to get where she was going, and the San Rafael Bridge was a pretty large bridge. It was about 4 or 5 miles long, and it was a toll bridge. And Lark developed a tradition all of her own. She would plan a surprise gift for the toll collector at the bridge. Could be a scarf, could be a plate of cookies, something special. And it was a random act of Christmas joy. She would leave one of the toll collectors with a special memory of that early Christmas morning and a joyful gift giver bringing some extra humanity to a mundane human transaction. As I studied and thought about Christmas joy this week, it dawned on me that most of the biblical references to joy center around the joy we human beings feel in the presence of God. All of the biblical writers seem to agree that joy has a transcendent quality about it. We feel joy when we sense the presence of the divine. And remember, wherever love is, God is. When we experience the presence of God, we experience joy. And the joy we feel is not some kind of superficial giddiness. It isn't prance around happiness. It's too profound and too important to trivialize like that. The joy is the joy that we feel when we are in resonance with the Spirit of God. When we know how we fit, it feels right in a really profound way. Feeling this joy in the presence of the Lord is all over the Old and New Testaments. Some of the most moving poetic passages are in Isaiah, and this is what he says: "You shall have a song, as in the night when a holy solemnity is kept, and gladness of heart, as when one goeth with the pipe to come into the mountain of the Lord. And the ransom of the Lord will return, they will enter Zion with singing, everlasting joy will crown their heads. You shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace. The mountains and the hills before you shall break forth into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands." I'm a collector of quotes. I enjoy the small nuggets of wisdom that come from human beings as collectively we wrestle with what life is all about. Sometimes there's nothing I could dream up that is as much to the point as something somebody else has written. And today's one of those days. I have some really good nuggets of wisdom from a variety of sources. I'm going to read some of them for you and I'm going to read it slowly because, like poetry, there's a lot packed into a few words. Sometimes it takes us some time to sort out the words and to find the meaning. So my first quote, my first nugget to share about joy is this from Alan Cohen: "Don't postpone joy until you have learned all your lessons. Joy is your lesson." And again, if you were all alone in the universe with no one to talk to, no one with whom to share the beauty of the stars, to laugh with, to touch, what would be your purpose in life? It is other life. It is love which gives your life meaning. This is harmony. We must discover the joy of each other, the joy of challenge, the joy of growth. That's from Mitsugi Saotomi. From Khalil Gibran: "The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. It is not the cup that holds your wine, the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven." And again from Khalil Gibran: "Joy and sorrow are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you, remember that the other is asleep in your bed." Here's a little bit of a nugget from Mark Twain. "Grief can take care of itself, but to get the full value of joy, you must have somebody to divide it with." Here's Joseph Campbell. "Participate joyfully in the sorrows of the world. We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy." And here's the eminent theologian and philosopher Mel Brooks. Look, I really don't want to wax philosophical, but I will say that if you're alive, you've got to flap your arms and legs. You've got to jump around a lot. You've got to make a lot of noise, because life is the very opposite of death. And therefore, as I see it, if you're quiet, you're not living. You've got to be noisy, or at least your thoughts should be noisy and colorful and lively. Here's Helen Keller. Joy is the holy fire that keeps our purpose warm and our intelligence aglow. Here's Leo Tolstoy. Joy can be real only if people look upon their life as a service and have a definite object in life outside themselves and their personal happiness. And finally, Mother Teresa. Joy is prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. Well, God bless you. Thank you very much for your time and your attention to this. If you find value in it, I hope you'll pass it around. Thank you. See you soon.